So welcome back. This is Robert Kiyosaki, and this is my friend's daughter here, Alex, and people love you here, Alex.
Oh,
they love you here. You bring spirit to the company. So, and your mom and dad are dear friends of mine, and it's been interesting to watch your mom and dad adopt the rich dad philosophy and become very, very rich, right?
I feel very, very grateful because I had a unique perspective of how I could see the transformation and transition from the before and after the rich dad philosophy.
What was it like before with your mom and dad?
Well, life was a drastic change from how we live today. My mom was a real estate agent, and I remember she got really upset once because he told her she worked for tips. And she realized after that she really was working for tips. And I grew up with a nanny because my mom was out from morning to night, and my dad owned his company, so a P.O. Box International company, and he was gone from 4 in the morning until very late at night. And basically the only days I truly cherished with my family was Sundays. So that was like a sacred day for us because it was the only time we saw my parents. And they were very hardworking. We never, nothing was ever missing. My dad was spinning his wheels with his business. So as my mom's showing this multi-million-dollar home, she sees the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and she thought it must be here for a reason. The owners of the house read this book, so it must be something that attracts wealth. And so she went to the bookstore, she bought it, and she gave it to my dad. And from there, he became stuck on the Rich Dad philosophy. He read it within an hour. After that, he retired, sold his company, and he started investing. And then my mom began to do the same thing. After he told her she worked for tips, she started her own investments in multifamilies. And after that, our life changed drastically, from the education that we received to the spirituality of everything and just spending time together.
What I say here is this. All your real estate agents, stockbrokers, financial planners, and all that, you guys all work for tips. You know, if you sell a property in America as a real estate agent, you get 6%. And I said to your mom, I tip my waiter 20%. Who's more valuable, real estate agent or a waiter? And she got upset. What do you mean I work for tips? Well, that's the S mentality.
Yeah.
You know, they don't build businesses. And then like most new investors, they run out of money, so now she uses other people's money.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's just an infinite return. And for those who are watching, an infinite return means you have zero money in the deal. So when these financial planners are telling you get 8%, try infinite. Try infinite. 8% is for chumps, man.
Yeah.
Big difference. And pay no tax on top of it. That's the I quadrant, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If the market crashes, are you afraid?
No, they're actually really happy.
And what are some of your friends doing?
So I do have a couple of friends that follow the traditional educational system and the 401k and the traditional way of life. And that is the majority, sadly. But then I have another group of friends that's a select few that are following the same path as I am towards financial freedom and investing in their financial education.
All you young people, I want to give you a word of advice here on marriage. The biggest lie ever told is, and they lived happily ever after. There is no such thing. It is a lie, right?
No, I don't know about that, Robert.
The easiest thing is get a job, climb the corporate ladder, and invest in a 401k.
Yeah.
That's where most people are at, and they go and they watch football or play golf on weekends.
Yeah.
That's their choice. I mean, it's a good life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my game, though. So today you have most of these people who have a financial plan, and they want you to give them their money. You know, put your money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETF, and savings. Okay, you know. And most of that money is gone anyway, as we talked about earlier. In the last 2 years of most people's lives, all that money disappears anyway. So what's the end game for Kim and I here? And for Kim and I, our end game is the end financial plan is this money goes into what's called a CRT, a charitable remainder trust. This charitable remainder trust then means the government can't tax me. That's the reason. And you know, and you got to study taxes. The only people that pay taxes are these people here because they're not doing what the government wants. Over here, I'm a partner with the government. The reason I get a tax break here is because I provide jobs. These guys don't provide jobs. I get a tax break here because I invest in real estate. Most people have a house. I have thousands of houses, and we provide housing. I provide oil, so I get the tax breaks because the government's my partner. If you go to school and get a job over here, you will pay this tax. And you should, because you're not doing what the government wants. I do what the government wants. So at the end of our lives here, we're going to put it here into a CRT. And the goal is the government can't tax that money. And it goes out. And for Kim and I, our goal is every year we're going to give $100 million to charity. Every year. Most people will be broke at the end of their lives. So we're going to give all this money back. And for into perpetuity, charities that we support, like I'm very much into the oceans, so I support Greenpeace. Kim loves animals, so she supports animals. We support all these things that we can't do because we're working our businesses. So we give our money back to charities. We give it to Boys and Girls Clubs and other charities all over the world. $100 million for a lot of people, for a guy like Trump, not a lot of money. For us, it's a lot of money. So $100 million a year is our goal. Today, we're probably, if I died and Kim died today, it'd probably be $25 million a year. But I have probably another 10 years, 20 years to live. So this is the ultimate goal. Kim has probably another 30 years. So can we make this? Most likely. And if we don't make it, we're still at 25 million today. But that's the end game here. We just give it back. And because we give it back, the government doesn't tax us. That's why I love the tax law. That's why we have Tom Wheelwright, who wrote the book Tax-Free Wealth and all this. So the reason we study so hard is so we can just give it back, but most of these people can't do that. And that's why the government gives us tax breaks. $100 million is a lot of money. I know most people that's nothing, but that's a lot of money. That means we have to have several billion in assets to do that. And we're close. That's the game, to give it back and pay no tax and get rich and have fun.
Yeah.
Any comments on that?
I think a lot of wealthy people get a bad reputation, and it's because people have this misconception that the rich are greedy. But in reality, you're leaving behind a legacy. You have money being donated even after you pass, and on top of that, you give seminars to teach financial education when you don't need to do that. So I think it is a legacy that you're leaving behind, and the only greedy are the poor because they have nothing to give, nothing to provide for others.
Well, what happens is when a person dies, the government takes it. And in legal terms, it's called probate. So let's say you have $1 million, they take it, and they spend it.
Yeah.
I don't want the government to spend my money. Okay. So I'll get this money, and I can say, I want for 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, I want these charities or these types of charities to get my money. So the government doesn't care as long as I'm donating it back. So I'm not being greedy, I'm just taking control of my money, my cash flow. Again, cash flow is the word. So my cash flows back to charities forever, from the grave. I'm lying in my grave going, oh, I hope they're spending that money well,
So I think it has a lot to do with your being and your purpose in life. Both you and Kim have a strong mission as to why you pursue everything you do.
Right. So we all join together as a team here to serve God's purpose. The same thing when I donate to Boys and Girls Clubs or to Greenpeace or to Panthera, which is an organization that saves lions and tigers and all that, That's my purpose, to give back. And if you do that, government will give you tax breaks. And people who are greedy pay taxes. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh? Yeah. And that takes financial education.
It does.
Okay. So as a young person, you have some ideas. I don't know, 10 lessons we've done. Have you got a better idea on how you're going to guide your life now?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I love being here because I know that I'm working, but it's I feel like I'm in a seminar learning with you and learning all the values that you're trying to instill in all these millennials. I'm here learning just like they're going to be learning when they watch these videos.
So anyway, for those who are watching Millennial Money, thank you. We'll probably do a few more as things change because the economy is changing.
Yeah.
And we'll do more of it. But those are kind of the basics. It's a way, as a young person, you can steer your life in probably more options to your life than just climbing the corporate ladder and putting your money in a 401k. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's boring. It's boring. So I want to thank Alex because we started Rich Dad in 1997, and you were born in?
Yeah, 1997.
So she was born when Kim and I founded this company, and it's very impressive to have you working with us. You are the spirit of the company now, and you will carry on the spirit for years and years to come. So thank you for being part of our team.
Thank you, Robert, for giving me this amazing opportunity and learning from you hand by hand, and also being able to give this message to the millennials.